you come up to this cliff where you have to jump and go into free fall out of what you thought you knew, out of that world that you knew, out of all of the identifications of who you are. You have to jump off. And when you're in that free fall, it's the illusion of a free fall. And when you stop fighting it, you go deep into your light, and your light work changes, and you're anchored in your light, and you realize that you're not falling at all, but the old things are falling away. And your challenge is that you need to release your attachment to them. You can still have these things in your life, or you might not want them anymore, but you must release your attachment to them, or you'll stay locked, or you'll stay fighting, or you'll crawl back into your small paradigm that once upon a time was huge, but became small. And that's why you brought yourself to this cliff. In recognizing that, your light work also changes. You also need to stop identifying with the knowledge of other people, and you can bounce off of them. You can run by them. What are your opinions? What would you do? And all of that. But in the end, you have to go within. And if you're deep enough into your divine soul knowing, you trust that divine soul knowing. And it is a trial and error, but with enough practice, you're willing to take that leap into the unknown spaces, knowing that you'll either learn something new through needing to refine it, or you'll learn something new by the results that you get. But either way, you're going to learn something new. And so it's all about identifying. Where do you put your identification? Do you put your identification with your friends? Well, then you're going to have a tendency to stay small enough to continue to identify with them. Are you going to put your identifications with your spiritual practices? Well, then at some point in time, those spiritual practices are going to be smaller than you want to be. But so you'll be defining yourself within that paradigm. Do you identify with your family? Well, then that's the classic struggle that a light worker, when they first start waking up, have trouble with, because they want to step outside of that family paradigm if they don't come from a family of light workers, and there's resistance from the family, but it's about making that conscious choice of no longer identifying with the family, so that you identify with your own journey, with your own authenticity, with your own self. And I mean capital S self, divine soul self, not ego self, which is the, human small s, if you're going to go into grammar on it. And so it's important to take a look at where you have your identifications. When you come from your divine soul knowing, and you're expressing yourself from center to circumference, then you can express yourself authentically from center to circumference within your family, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your other spiritual, your spiritual practices will grow by leaps and bounds, by the way, and your spiritual understanding will grow by leaps and bounds. But you're doing it because your primary self-identification is with the light of you, that I call your divine soul. Somebody else would call Christ. Somebody else would call the Buddha. Somebody else would call Allah. But that divine spark within, when that becomes your primary identification, then you're expressing through it. Now, when you do that, you start to see the fallacies of the identification that you had before. So whether it's a political identification or a theoretical identification, whatever that identification is, you're going to see the limitations of it. And it's important not to resist that. On a lot of these things of, as we have the UFO conversation that expands and it grows, and humanity is in for a huge wake-up call when this finally spreads out to a point. There's going to be a lot of paradigm shifts turned upside down. And what you identified with before, you're going to see, whoa, the holes in it. It's not quite holding the water like it used to. And it becomes more important than ever to know that divine spark within. And the thing that is amazing about your divine soul knowing is that you were thought into being by infinite intelligence, omniscient wisdom, and omnipotent unconditional love. This is the consciousness of all there is. And I've talked about this in other videos, but it bears repeating that you're thought into being by that divine spark. You are part of that ocean. You're the drop in the ocean. You aren't the entire ocean, but you are a drop in that ocean, which means you've got all of that oceanness in you. And so as the universe is flowing through you, because you're made of this, it's flowing through you, it's flowing through all aspects of you. When you consciously allow it to move through your divine soul, consciously allow, it's always doing it. When you allow your human aspect to consciously recognize on deeper levels that this divine light is moving through your divine soul knowing, up through your divine heart and your human heart. And these are different layers to your consciousness. And then spill out and fill all aspects and all of your multi-layer bodies. That's the first step of the basic activation meditation. And then also spill out and fill the space around you. That's just the beginning. Your learning and your expression and your co-creation is never ending. It's totally never ending. So when I was talking with her, I said, I've gotten to the point with all of my life is just, I don't give a flying rip what the truth is. I just want the truth. I am so unattached to anything. I don't care. If the truth is shocking, yeah, I feel it ripple through me. Yeah, I feel it's whoa. And I have to do the stop, look, let love, where I just stop and go, whoa, okay, let me just relax into this. Let me take a look at it. Let me let light flow and let it flow through me. Let it flow through this. And then I ask within, is this true? On a 1 to 10 scale, how factual is it? And I will literally go 0 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 to 6, 6 to 7, 7 to 8, 8 to 9, 9 to 10. 10 is 100% true. So that I can get to, and let's say it stops at 7, then I know my interpretation or what has been brought to me is kind of correct, but there's more to understand on it. And to understand it, then that means I need to let go of what I think I know even more. Let light flow and have it be transformed into illumination. Now, this is really, really important for the light workers who channel other entities, work with angels, work with any other non-incarnate sentient beings. Because keep in mind, information is coming in through your human filter. And it's coming in through your human identifications. And so it's very, very important when the information comes through is to not give your power to other people. Or I've seen other people do where they give it to entities because they think this entity knows more than them. They give their power away to them. Don't do that. There's a lot of entities that really are here to help. They're higher beings and they're here to assist humankind. There are others that just want to be capricious, But even on the higher beings that give you information, don't just take it at face value. You really have to take it in Because if you're identifying with being able to channel that, you're still limiting yourself. Take it within, because you also want to double check, what's my interpretation of this? On a 1 to 10 scale, how accurate is my interpretation? Trust the process, but always double check within. You are a divine soul having a human experience. You're not a human who has a certain skin color. You're not a human who has a certain religious belief. You're not a human who has a certain political belief. You're not a human that has these wounds from the past. You're not a human. All of these identifying factors. You're not that who happens to have a divine soul. You're a divine soul who had these experiences, and you're a divine soul who is discovering more about the human condition, so that you can ascend your own knowledge ever deeper into the infinite unconditional love of the all, the creator of all things. But you can also transmit that out to assist those around you in this co-creation process to also ascend to higher levels of awareness. And when you're ready, you'll start to recognize how those impulses that are rising up are directly related to your divine soul purpose here on earth. Your primary purpose is to be your light, to transmit that out. But your divine soul purpose, I wanted to say chances are, but for a good 70% of us here incarnated on earth in these very chaotic, exciting times of transition, about 70% of us came in with a divine soul contract that we agreed upon before we incarnated. If you're part of that 70%, and you probably are if you're already a light worker, because you felt that impulse going in that direction. But it's very, very important to live your light fully. And so I would say, take a strong look at where you have your identifications, and then try to step out of that identification and step deeper into your divine soul knowing. The good news is, even if the identification was something that you truly loved, you'll be able to give that love and help it evolve more than you ever could have by leaving your identification within that group or on that thing or on that idea. Right, so let's just speak into just for a moment of what does it mean to live your light fully. It does not mean being a doormat of unconditional love. It does not mean proselytizing. What it does mean is having the courage to really look within and speak your truth, even in the face of other people saying you're wrong or you're stupid or you're silly or whatever, but just to speak your truth. Now, for some, and that truth will grow. Your awareness of that truth will grow. And expressing yourself and learning to express yourself center to circumference is a trial and error process. Because even if you've been incarnated into the human experience many times, this is the first time that you're at this level of awareness in this body, in this set of circumstances. It's the first time humanity has been in this set of circumstances. So it's always a bit of a trial and error, but this is why, not even a bit, sometimes if you make big tries, then you might have big errors, but from those big errors come the bigger lessons. So you might be a snail, or you might be a leapfrog, living your light fully. It means taking a look at where you're holding yourself back. Taking a look at where are your self-identifications holding yourself back. Taking a look at where do you have fears. taking a look at where are you playing it safe when you really, maybe on a human level, playing it safe is more comfortable, but on a divine soul level, you're bored out of your gourd. And you don't really want to play it safe. Then take a look at where can I take bigger risks? Where can I step outside of that old? You know, if you want to do it snail's pace, do it at snail's pace, but do it at a consistent snail's pace, because a consistent snail's pace will get you there faster than a huge leapfrog and then hang out and sleep and drink and smoke cigarettes, all metaphorical, for 12 years. And then you do another leapfrog. That'll get you somewhere new faster. But then again, you know, hey, if you want to do a big jump and then hang out and metaphorically sleep and drink and smoke cigarettes, okay. But ask yourself, is this part of my divine soul purpose? You know, it's all comes down to, where do I feel the center to circumference push outwards? Take a look at living your light fully also means taking a look at, where am I playing power games with myself? And where am I playing power games with other people? Now, this takes courage, because a lot of this is subconscious, because it's in the collective consciousness. And so identifying sometimes even just in being human, you know, that phrase, oh, I'm only human. Well, no, actually, you're a whole lot more. You know, so take a look at that self-identification of I'm only human. You know, and take a look at where is that holding me back? Where is that putting me in my comfort zone, where I don't want to be in that comfort zone? And then that'll give you your steps. And then you ask within, what comes next? What do I do next? And you'll be guided to do something different. Let's look at the opposite side. It puts you in your comfort zone and you doggone well want to stay there. Then ask yourself, am I happy? Not am I comfortable? Am I happy? Am I happy now? Do I have something to look forward to in the future? And do I have someone or something to love? And if you've got those three legs, a yes. And then the last question is this for my highest good to stay right here in this little comfort zone? And if you get a yes, stay there, because it could be that your divine purpose is to be one of the non-moving anchors. But if you got a no on any one of those, then that's not your purpose. That's not your divine soul purpose. So this is all about living your light. It is a trial and error process. It's about having the courage to understand what is your unique pattern. What is your unique note in this symphony of life? What is your unique vibration? And then express that as fully and freely as you possibly are able to at every given moment of your life. Living your life fully also means reaching out in little ways and big ways to others. Take a look at how am I lifting up the people around me? Sometimes in this world, we're so busy and worried about getting our needs met, when our needs would be met if we assisted others in lifting them up. And I don't mean you actually picking them up, but help them. Maybe it's an act of kindness. Maybe it's a smile. These are the little things. Maybe it's asking somebody, do you want to talk? Maybe it's the big ways. You start a nonprofit. You start a new movement. But for you, that would be something small, and you enlist other people to work with you. Maybe it's something big and it's scary. You just take that step by step by step. What's important is to recognize is that we are all here together, and together we make up this whole. And if we all find the courage to live our light center to circumference in ever deepening ways and work to lift other people up also with our love, with our light, then it wouldn't take a lot to really shift all of this chaos that's going. If we have enough light workers together, willing to live their divine soul purpose, have the courage to really shift the identification, self-identification, and go deeper into their divine soul knowing, that would ripple out faster. And it's kind of, you think of it like a homeopathic drop that, you know, we don't need half the world. We just need a certain percentage, and it'll be like a homeopathic drop of a shift in consciousness. It's harder. It is harder to hold in this huge holographic conscious universe. And just take a little sidestep too, just to really open up your mind. Take a look at the Webb telescope images and how many galaxies are out there. It'll put this into perspective, if nothing, to open up for you to realize that, you know, what I thought was this huge problem, it's not. You know, just kind of do a Google Maps pullback to get a bigger picture. And when we go deeper into our divine soul knowing, it gives us a bigger picture. So what seemed like that huge problem becomes very, very small. And your divine soul is constantly talking to all of the other divine souls, so you can access all kinds of information and assistance along the way if you're willing to receive it. You know, so for each person, living your light fully and freely is going to be unique to you. And just know that that identification of needing the social feedback, the social numbers that say this is okay, this is safe. Sometimes you have to take that leap out of that old, and you'll have new social numbers that come to you that'll verify that this new realm that you're operating in, you know, you're not alone. But your journey is a solo journey. You just are doing it with others, perhaps. We're infinite beings having human experiences, and all of us come from somewhere before we were born. And when you're ready, all you have to do is ask. But you've got to have the courage to jump off the cliff to know.
Thank you so much for listening, and thank you so much for being interested in learning on how to live your light more fully and freely with emotional freedoms that you haven't even yet begun to dream of. And that gives you the courage and clarity to live your divine soul purpose. Now, just so that I play well with the algorithms here on YouTube, be sure to like the video. Please leave me a comment, because I do love more two-way conversations, and subscribe if you want to stay in touch with any of the new material that I'm putting out there.